Father's Day exists because one of the deadliest disasters in American history left more than 1,000 children without fathers. Yet almost nobody knows that story. Every year, millions send a card, buy a tie, grill a steak, and have no idea what they're actually celebrating. This is the story they don't put on the greeting cards. December 6th, 1907, Monongah, West Virginia, 10:28 in the morning. Inside the Fairmont Coal Company's mines, number 6 and number 8, hundreds of men are working underground, most of them immigrants, Italian, Polish. Some are boys as young as 10. Then, without warning, ignition, a spark, maybe a flame from a miner's lamp. It meets a pocket of methane gas, and the gas meets coal dust. The explosion is so violent, it's felt 10 miles away. Officially, 362 men die. But here's the part the company never wanted you to know. Some historians believe the real number was far higher. The blast was so powerful that some bodies were never identified, never fully recovered. It remains to this day the deadliest mining disaster in American history. And in one single morning, more than 1,000 children lose their fathers. But the most disturbing part of this story isn't the explosion. It's what happened to the town afterward. The town of Monongah doesn't just lose its workforce, it loses its identity. Margaret Byington, a relief worker sent to help the survivors, later described the town as a place where, in her words, sorrow seemed to wait at every step. Among the grieving is a woman named Grace Golden Clayton. She'd already lost her own father years earlier, and watching this town drown in fatherless grief broke something open in her. So in the summer of 1908, she goes to her pastor with an idea. Hold a service, not for the dead, for the fathers, living and gone. On July 5th, 1908, that service happens. Parishioners hand out roses, red for the fathers still alive, white for the ones buried in the ground. It is, by most accounts, the first Father's Day service in American history. And then, it's never repeated. No annual tradition, no headlines. Some say the date was too close to Independence Day. Others say the grief was simply too raw to relive every year. Monongah's Father's Day dies as quickly as it was born. But 3,000 kilometers away, a woman who had never heard of Monongah was about to finish what Grace started. And it would take her 30 years. Spokane, Washington, 1909. Sonora Smart Dodd is sitting in church on Mother's Day, and something doesn't sit right with her. Her own mother had died young, giving birth to her 6th child. Her father, a Civil War veteran, raised all 6 children alone. No help, no remarriage, just him. She thinks, if mothers deserve a day, why not him? She takes the idea to local ministers. They agree. On June 19, 1910, Spokane holds what's considered the first wide-scale Father's Day celebration. You'd think that's where the story turns triumphant. It isn't. For the next several decades, Father's Day becomes something close to a national joke. Newspapers mock it as sentimental and unnecessary. Cartoonists draw fathers looking embarrassed, holding gifts they clearly don't want. Some commentators say plainly, fathers don't need a soft holiday. That's a mother's role. Sonora Dodd spends years lobbying, writing letters, getting doors shut in her face. For decades, Father's Day exists, but isn't real. Not officially, not nationally. And just when it starts gaining traction, a new enemy shows up. Not critics this time, corporations. Father's Day had started with widows, with orphans, with white roses handed out in a grieving church. Now it was about to be used to sell neckties. By the 1930s, companies realized something. There's a holiday out there with no merchandise attached to it yet. Necktie manufacturers move in first, then tobacco companies, then men's grooming brands. Suddenly, Father's Day isn't about grief or memory or a one-armed war veteran raising 6 kids alone. It's about what you can buy him. Critics at the time say it outright. The holiday now celebrates sales, not love. Even the U.S. Congress notices. When President Woodrow Wilson tries to push Father's Day toward becoming an official federal holiday, Congress resists, specifically because they're worried it's becoming too commercial. Too commercial for a holiday born out of mass death. That's the irony nobody talks about. It would take 2 different presidents, decades apart, to finally make it real. 1966. President Lyndon Johnson signs a proclamation officially recognizing Father's Day. But a proclamation isn't a law. It can be undone by the next administration. It isn't until 1972, 64 years after Grace Clayton handed out her first white rose, that President Richard Nixon signs it permanently into law. 64 years, 2 presidents, 1 forgotten grief, 1 mocked woman, 1 mining disaster almost nobody remembers today.
So here's the question worth sitting with. Was Father's Day really created to honor fathers? Or was it created because a nation full of fatherless children needed somewhere to put their grief and just never found a better place to put it than the third Sunday of June? Happy Father's Day.